could be argued that Boba Fett is when Star Wars well and truly jumped the shark, and if you were going to narrow down that shark jumping moment, it would be this episode. Now, some would say the shark jumping occurred when Rey, the sand peasant, beat a trained Force user. Well, there was a chance Rey was going to turn out to be someone interesting. That didn't happen. Others would say the shark jumping moment was when Luke threw his lightsaber over his shoulder like a spoiled child. Or when Lady Arts Degree decided to do the hyper smash. Or they could point to when Rose Me Too'd Finn. Now, I would find it hard to argue with these people. But Star Wars still could have been saved if Luke had woken up with Bobby Ewing in his shower, knowing that he had projected himself into some horrible dream.
Good morning.
And for those of you wondering, what the fuck is a Bobby Ewing and why would I want to find it in my shower? Well, he was the star of the show Dallas, and in 1986, they decided to wipe out a whole season just to bring him back after killing him off. Their explanation was that it was all just a dream. Come on, Disney, give it a shot, you can do it. Well, it's a little bit late, I suppose. And then some would say that the whole of The Rise of Skywalker was one long embarrassing shark jump. A shark jump that in any sane world would have put the brakes on JJ's ascending career. But even after all those hours of horrible, depressing storytelling,
I'm all the Jedi.
one tiny thing you could possibly say as a positive is that it all looked like some type of Star Wars. And this was mostly down to Lucasfilm having no original ideas and just copying all of George's designs. Yes, we'd seen it all before, except with better lighting and a sense of realism. Oh, those nightclub hangers. They look like complete shit.
You are a Palpatine.
I mean, the total success of The Mandalorian comes down to that it looks like the Star Wars we all grew up with. The whole show is just constantly shoving childhood memories in your face. Absolutely no one is applauding the writing or the originality. I mean, how many shows can you replace the lead with a stuntman for 90% of the screen time and no one notices or cares?
And me?
Yes, even I can enjoy some of the visual stimulation of The Mandalorian if I turn my brain down to that of a mango and ignore how pathetic the story is. But Boba Fett has not only set a new benchmark for astonishingly bad writing, it has also decided to kill any sense of continuity in the Star Wars universe. The Happy Days shark jumping episode and Boba Fett Chapter 3 have a lot in common. Both have idiotic jumping, both have completely out of place leather garment wearing, and both are TV shows cashing in on a superior George Lucas creation. Even Richie's girlfriend. You bastards. We begin this wonderful chapter with the usual stretching of information to fill the runtime. If you ever wanted proof that choosing staff by their victim rating over talent, then look no further than the Boba Fett story. They have the Star Wars toy box at their disposal, as well as $1.5 million per episode, and they spend 80% of the episode on filler scenes. It's not $1.5 million per episode. It's $15 million. $15 million? No way. It is $15 million per episode. The series was $100 million to make. Where the fuck did all that money go? Game of Thrones started at $6 million per episode, which crept up to around $15 million per episode at the end. But the Game of Thrones episodes were twice as long, and the cast was absolutely huge, and they filmed all over the world. The cast of Boba Fett doesn't fill a room, and they film on the Mandalorian sets that they've already got. I'm telling you, Disney's really using this show to get rid of some of their tax money.
No one respects you.
Enough!
Ah, there you go. We've got a character saying what we're all feeling. The coolest, most ruthless bounty hunter in the universe is not only old and confused.
Oh, this is the first I'm hearing of it. What? Gang.
Now, no one fears him. He lords over the same territory that Thyroid Neck lorded over. This fat bastard was respected enough to keep control over his territory, but the one and only Boba Fett isn't. Awesome. So after the local shopkeeper makes a joke of the guy that used to hang around with Darth Vader, he goes on to describe a feared gang.
Gang. Well, they are half man, half machine. They modify their bodies with droid parts to make themselves even more deadly. I beseech you, Lord Fett.
Now, we've had some great creature and costume design in Star Wars before, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how scary and tough this feared gang is. Oh no! How? What fucking series are we in now?
Look, old man.
So before we get into the bigger problems with this gang, let's go over the idiotic story. Lucasfilm is still struggling with what is a crime lord.
You're a crime boss. Just like the rest of them.
Because now Boba is acting like the local sheriff, even pointing out that stealing is against the law.
We stole it.
That's a crime.
He's now the concerned citizen law-abiding crime lord. Disney, it's in the fucking name. Crime lord.
I'm confused.
I'm the crime lord. He's supposed to pay me.
Say hello to my little friend!
Anyhow, like everyone in this show, the Duran Duran gang don't give a fuck about Boba and show him no respect, even though only 5 years prior, he was a local killer for hire.
Look, old man.
My name is Boba Fett.
We know who you are.
Yes, I have to keep reminding everyone, it's supposedly only 5 years since Boba was partying at Jabba's and fucking everything in sight, including this one's mum. Not only do the gang not fear him or show him any respect, which, when you're a crime boss, is a bit of a problem and a complete loss of local power, they are also stealing from a business that he profits from. So like any good crime lord, Boba knows he has to set an example to the locals and let everyone know he's not fucking around. He does this by taking one of the gang up in a chopper and throwing them out to their death. No, of course he doesn't do anything like that, because every character or monster in Star Wars is now some soy-filled social justice warrior. So that means instead of giving one of the gang a beating, he decides to give them all a job.
Then you will work for me.
He then starts arguing the cost of the water for them. A crime lord that's more into the social needs of his community. Just what we asked for, Disney, you fucking cunts. My favourite part of this excellent story is not only does Boba turn on the guy that has been paying him protection money, he also tells him his water's too expensive without knowing how much was stolen.
What do they owe you?
1,300 credits.
For water?
1,300 credits.
And seeing as the gang live in dirt and shit, but their clothes are freshly cleaned and pressed, and their scooters are super shiny, I'm guessing those little arseholes took a shitload of water. For all we know, this guy could be selling the cheapest water in town. Now, I know the Disney defending weirdos will scream nitpick, but for a staggering $15 million per 30-minute episode, I'd expect them to iron out the stupidity of the script, which occurs every couple of seconds. I'd spend a couple of dollars making sure a stupid argument over the cost of water actually made sense.
Yeah, cool little scooters, man. That's a cool gang to be a part of.
For some reason, I don't feel like they fit in a Star Wars world.
Living the life of a high-flying, jet-setting YouTuber, I have to watch what I eat, but that doesn't mean I want to eat boring, sensible food with no flavour. I want to eat fun food that keeps me young at heart. That's why my go-to feel-good, healthy, guilt-free food is Magic Spoon cereal. Ah, Cinnamon, you're my favourite. And since discovering Magic Spoon, my whole outlook has changed.
Aren't movies just the absolute best these days? I tell you, they just don't make them like today anymore.
Magic Spoon cereal is high in protein, low carb, has 0 grams of sugar, is gluten-free, grain-free, and has all natural flavours. But somehow, it tastes phenomenal. I can't get enough of it.
You're listening to Robert Head.
It's Robot Head.
That's what I said. Robert Head.
They come in honey graham, frosted, blueberry, maple waffle, cinnamon, fruity, peanut butter, cocoa, and oatmeal cookie. It all tastes so good.
So it's Robot Head.
So I said Robert Head.
It's Robot Head.
What the is a robot head?
So to have fun eating while still staying healthy, order a delivery today. Just click on the link below and be sure to use the promo code ROBOT to get $5 off any order. Or go to magicspoon.com/robot. Magic Spoon. It's the fun of eating like a kid again without becoming a fat bastard.
You're listening to Robot. Oh, I said it right.
We go back into the past again, but this time, thankfully, we see that all the sand people have been murdered. This is all padded out with Boba travelling across the sand very, very slowly. It's all quite boring, but we have to mention it because it's sure to come back up in the series again. Now, speaking of soy-filled monsters, Black Cranston is back. Is that his name? I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Somehow this huge mofo slipped into the palace unnoticed, got past the guards, made his way through the palace to Boba's private quarters, and without detection, starts trying to kill Boba. This is the second assassination attempt we've seen in this series where the assassin doesn't understand how to actually kill someone. I mean, a blaster shot to the head while he was meditating in the bath would have worked. But for some reason, blasters magically disappear in this show when the story calls for it. Black Chewie is as useless as the Night Wind. Now, it was established all the way back in 1977 that Wookiees are incredibly strong. It's their whole MO. They can rip arms off at will. And according to Wikipedia, Big Black K was also trained as a gladiator. How hard do you think that big fella could punch? How much of your skull would be missing after his big hairy fist went through your brain? Now, I love watching old clips of Mike Tyson fighting. It makes me forget all about Twitter. Big Mike made lots of people reconsider their career choices. Could there be anything scarier than standing opposite an angry Mike Tyson in his prime? Because it would be the last time you'd be breathing without tubes and a ventilator. And that's if you lived. Now imagine if Mike was twice as big and we removed his gloves and replaced them with metal electrified spikes, and then he had a nice clean shot at your head. Your face would no longer exist, your skull would be shattered, your feeble little brain would be turned into mush.
He's going to
If this is what a human can do, imagine what a 10-foot trained gladiator monster could do wearing electrified metal spikes on his fist. Apparently not much. Not even a scratch. $15 million per episode. And no one questions this type of stupidity. Everything we've been told about Wookiees since 1977 just wiped out in one punch.
Kill them too fast. Yeah, kill them slower.
Then the huge, ultra-strong gladiator monster picks up Boba to squeeze the life out of him. We even hear the sound of bones cracking. The pain and internal bleeding must be incredible. Boba would be shitting and pissing into a bag for the next year. That's if he survived. Nope, as good as gold. No blood, no injuries, no look of pain, not even a scratch. Just putting on his robe, looking about as angry as your dad did when he came down the stairs at 3 a.m. to tell you to turn the bloody TV down. Boba Fett repairs so magically between shots, I'm going to start calling him the General Lee. These stupid directors don't seem to have any idea when it comes to injuries resulting from a fight. Big Black K has a huge stick lodged into his back and then also gets stabbed. But by the next day, he's just totally fine. Even Chewie got bandaged up occasionally. And speaking of the next day, we get more amazing dialogue from our leads. Seafood on a desert planet. So the next morning, old man Boba doesn't know what to do next. Well, he actually never knows what to do next. Thankfully, we have the real star of the show, Fennec, whose advice is...
I say, you wait for them to show their hand.
What? Wait for them to show their hand? They just did. They sent a fucking assassin. That's a pretty big showing of hands if you ask me. Man, wouldn't this show be greatly improved if we found out that Fennec was spending the whole time trying to set Boba up to be killed so she could take over? Because I'd say once an enemy has sent an assassin into your house to kill you, there ain't much more to learn about your enemy. That's about the biggest hand they can show you. What's even more baffling is that the scene is completely unnecessary because in the very next second...
What is it?
The Hutts are here. Somehow by the next morning, the Hutts have already found out their assassination attempt has failed. They've packed up, organised a housewarming gift, and travelled all the way to Boba's doorstep. I'm telling you, Fennec's tipping them off. And Lucasfilm, could we please get a hint of some type of vehicle in the background for these fat clowns? Because that driveway is fucking huge. Or have they just been carried all the way from town? You don't think those slave carrier dudes aren't looking at that floating platform thinking, you fat bastards, why are we carrying you if you own that? You fat c***s.
There doesn't seem to be anyone here.
Now, I understand two droids being allowed to wander up to the front door unannounced. Jabba wasn't in the middle of a turf war, and they don't look that much of a threat. But if the night before you've had an assassination attempt, you probably should have someone watching the driveway. Someone should have probably noticed the rival murderous crime gang coming up that long driveway all the way to Bubba's front door with a killer monster. And all that crime war could be about to start at the palace front gate, and old man Boba just wanders outside to see what they want. He doesn't even notice the huge monster until it's right next to him. The Hutts only tried to kill him the night before. For all he knows, the monster was brought there to eat him. And apparently the mayor promised this territory to another syndicate.
Promised by who?
The same mayor who we are told at the start of the episode has no power.
And the assassins.
Mayor has no power.
He has no power, but somehow he sits above the crime syndicates and deals out territories. The mayor story makes no fucking sense.
All of this while lining the pockets of Mayor Mog Shares.
Is what you should have brought me as tribute.
I've never heard a script so void of meaning. Every line contradicts something we've heard earlier. It's as if this show was written by an improv class where they take turns writing every second line.
The
lonely
grocery
store
clerk
believed
he
could
move.
The improv class idea would also explain the piss-weak version of a crime lord.
I failed!
Assassination attempt, that doesn't matter.
I failed!
The Hutts get to use an old get-out-of-jail card that didn't help Louis C.K. They get to say sorry. And it works.
Go on.
But because this is the dumbest script ever put to screen, we're all good. Tatooine is all of a sudden not worth fighting for, and the rehabilitated Wookiee can be released back into the wild. Continued in Chapter 3, Part 2, as I have a lot to say about the Scooter Gang.